What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our first actual in-person video episode of the Staincast / MCU Staincast, because this one can really go either way, unfortunately.
We're going to call it regular Staincast.
Yeah, for episode purposes, it's Staincast, because we don't... I mean, to be fair, this movie's at least better than Love and Thunder, and Love and Thunder's under MCU.
I think I think it makes more sense to do, like, in the future now. Or, like, any movie that comes out after the fact, I don't know. Because, like, this movie came out when it really wasn't part of the MCU.
True, but I mean,
at
this point, everything is part of the MCU.
Yeah, the MCU is just mid now, so.
Yeah. But anyways, of course, this week we are covering Venom. Fuck.
Ass.
Yeah, this movie's fucking terrible. But, you know... I hope everybody had a nice Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate. If you do,
and Happy New Year too. By the time this episode comes out, it's gonna be a couple days before New Year's Eve.
No, it'll be out tomorrow from us recording it. So 2 days until New Year's. Hope you guys enjoy the New Year's, and of course we'll have our New Year's episode coming out next week with our top 10 albums of the year, which is very anticipated. But of course, this week we got more stuff to talk about. This week we have Venom, as well as our top 10 movies of 2022, which I think you guys are going to be very excited for. And of course, we got your input as well. So before we hop into that part, though, I guess it's time to just get right into Venom, because we're not going to be spending a lot of time here. Also, side note, we apologize for how we both sound. We're both getting over colds / congestion /
I'm fucking dying.
Yeah. So, just bear with us as much as possible, and hopefully we'll be back to normal next week. I might want to talk up just a bit.
Yeah. All right, I'll try.
You try your best. Try your best. What you doing there, fam?
Trying to fucking... God fucking damn it, I hate Mac, man. My God. It's gotta be so fucking complicated. Oh, yeah, you have something in full screen, so you can't fucking take it out of full screen. Alright, I'm good now. Alright.
So, of course, you guys know, always comes first, favorite and least favorite character. And, I mean, for this movie, the only...
I don't have a favorite character.
I tried.
For anybody wondering, I don't have a favorite character in this movie. I was trying to think of, like, trying to think just off my head of someone who actually, I don't know.
No, there's literally no one. No, not a single character in this movie is likable.
Yeah, they're all just written to. They're all written to do the purposes that it's intended for. And like, this doesn't feel like real characters interacting with each other. It just feels like they're reading off a script. It's like super fake. It's like artificial. All their relationships, like you can, I don't know, just the way they interact with each other. Like, I was even gonna say Tom Hardy's like fiance or his wife, because like she wasn't terrible. Like she definitely wasn't like annoying the shit out of me like most of the other characters were. But she's not in it long enough, and she's just not important in the story. Besides
the fact that they broke up or whatever the hell happened.
Oh, that fucking kiss!
Oh, you're getting into that now?
No, I'm just saying that like her only purpose in the story is to do that.
Oh.
And for her doing that, I'm actually going to remove her from the contention for being a favorite character. So yeah, nope. No favorite character.
That's fair. I mean, I agree with you. Like, none of the characters are good. All the motivations are kind of out the window. And so, I guess we'll start with this now. We'll start this debate. Sony needs to stop making Spider-Man villain stories without Spider-Man. Because as of
it's just a piece of the character is missing.
Yes. As of this Staincast episode releasing, we've only gotten 3. We've gotten Venom, Venom 2, and Morbius.
All fantastic.
Yeah, all great movies. But on top of that, so Morbius, fine. That one probably could have stood on its own if that actually was given good anything else. But the concept behind it was just awful. That's besides the point. Venom. I'm not mad at them making Venom an anti-hero, because they started to do that with Agent Venom in the comics and the TV shows and stuff like that. However, this isn't Agent Venom. This is Eddie Brock, who the whole reason he had the Venom symbiote is because of his vengeance towards Peter Parker and Spider-Man and all this crap, and then he's just gone. Yeah, he's just Venom to be Venom.
Yeah. Like, the only thing that even ties this universe to Marvel is the fact that they keep throwing around symbiote 1,000 times throughout the movie. Because besides that,
well, it's fucking.
We're in California when Spider-Man's based in New York. Like it couldn't have felt more out of tone, or context. Like,
well, throwback when the first trailer came out, they were pronouncing it symbiote, and fucking they got a bunch of shit, so then they had to redouble all the times they said symbiote.
Yeah, they really know how to communicate with their base. It's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, but so I guess going to the least favorite character, all of them, but more specifically, Riot and fucking what is his name? Carlton Drake.
Yeah.
That villain is fucking awful. Like, if you're gonna do a symbiote versus symbiote, you should have started off with. I mean, I get starting off with Carnage isn't gonna be the best because it's not really how the story would unfold. But why the fuck would you do Riot?
Yeah. I mean, they just have this weird fetish. Like, it makes sense. It's like if you're Sony, if you're trying to branch out from Marvel, if you're not supposed to just looking like you're just like sipping on the teat of Marvel, they're trying to make their own stuff. They're trying to reimagine these characters. They're trying to do what James Gunn did to the Guardians, how no one knows who the fuck these guys are. Now, fast forward to today, their household name, or at least close to it. I get that, but then
Venom was already a household name.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like introducing Riot. It's like bringing these characters that. I mean,
they kill him off in 2 seconds. They give him no development. It just makes no.
It's just half. Sense. It's just a half measure. It's like, oh yeah, we want something people have never seen before, but then they just settle for the like. I mean, it's not Marvel's. Like, they don't have a copyright on that formula, but like Marvel's pretty known for their hero powers versus evil, whatever you want to call it, like Iron Man versus.
Iron Man versus Ironmonger, Black Panther, Killmonger, all that shit.
Like Marvel's already super known for this stuff. I don't know, it just feels like a half measure where like they're trying to distance themselves from Marvel by introducing all these different concepts and being more gory, being more dark. But it just comes out of still being a crappy like wannabe off-brand Marvel. Like they're trying so hard to be different, but it's so obvious that they're trying to they're just trying to be different for the namesake of being different. They're not trying to actually come up with good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, all of these good ideas, they either have horrible writing, directing, or acting all added to it. Sony is at this point making these movies to keep the rights to these characters.
Yeah,
which is also true. Not how you should make a movie. I mean, I get that's how fucking companies are going to do it because they're money hungry, especially companies like Sony, Disney, etc. But this is not how you do it because the fans, we want good shit. We're just going to stop watching your shit.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Morbius got memed on, so yeah, it got re-released and it fucking flopped on the re-release and shit like that. But stuff like Venom, I'm not interested in Venom 3. I was barely interested in Venom 2.
It's a shame too because Carnage really was one of my favorite friggin' villains from that whole animated show that they had. For however it was.
The 90s animated show. Yep.
He was, there wasn't too much intrigue to his character. He's a serial killer, he's a murderer, and that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's all you need. And I was like, all right, whatever. You really can't mess up someone that's like a villain Von bad guy is Carnage, who just kills for the sake of killing. He's just crazy, that kind of stuff. I never watched it because I saw one clip of that movie, Venom eating Carnage, and I was like, wow. If that's how that movie ends, there's no reason to get to that point and watch the movie.
The movie's bad. This whole series is bad. Yeah, that's not fucking...
Yeah.
But I guess just because I'm done talking about these awful characters, we can go to make or break moments of the movies, or should I just really say break moments of the movie? Because I don't have any makes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a lie. I do like one interaction. When the soldiers are swarming Eddie when he's at the reporter's office or whatever, and they go mask, and they say copy, and then Venom Tom Hardy goes mask, and Venom says copy, and then suits up. That's pretty cool. I liked that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the extent that I liked this movie.
I'm trying to think. I thought I wrote a note somewhere about what if there was a scene that I liked. No, not really. It has some borderline alright moments throughout the movie. The CGI is
not bad, actually. It's not awful. It's better than some of the shit we've seen recently.
Yeah, exactly. This movie came out in 2018, I think it was.
Yep, 2018.
And it still looks better than some of the CGI we're getting current era 2021, 2022. which is sad. But I mean, it's passable. Like I'm not saying it's the greatest CGI of all time. Like, it definitely could be better, but I mean, whatever. I'm not expecting like some Thanos level budget for it, but I mean, it's just the writing. I think is the bottleneck for the whole film. I think like there's so many scenes that like I was just thinking about them. Like this could actually be cool as hell. Like this could actually be like a really touching moment or a really impactful moment in Eddie's character arc. But like it's just the most like fumbled like back and forth like redemption generic, story like or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I'm just tired of every like rebel being called an anti-hero. Like just because
this was the real start of the anti-hero era. Yeah,
it was like, oh, just because somebody kills people, they're an anti-hero. It's like
I guess Deadpool was really like the start, but this is when it started to pick up.
Yeah, but like I consider Deadpool an anti-hero because morally speaking, he's very complicated. Where I feel like Eddie's just always doing the right thing. He's like, oh, you can only eat bad people. He says, that sounds like a hero to me. Like just because you kill people, it's like Superman kills people. He's not an anti-hero. You can literally go down the list of all Marvel's characters. Tony Stark kills people all the fucking time.
Yep.
But they're bad. So he's a hero. Like, we got to stop calling people anti-heroes because they kill. Like, the only person that doesn't kill people apparently is Batman, which I still think is Cap. But
if you've seen BVS, you know that Ben Affleck kills people. Or even, honestly, the Batman, you could tell that Robert Pattinson kills people.
I'm still thinking about that scene of him fucking pulling the grenade on that guy and throwing him. It's like, whatever. So, my beef is I'm tired of hearing the word anti-hero just being, like, attached with a pink freaking, like, sign.
And
the tag, he's a rebel. He kills people.
The tag for this literally says a symbiotic anti-hero, right? Isn't that like that?
Somewhere in there, yeah. I'm sure on one of their marketing team was going crazy with the word
anti-hero. Well, yeah, because they're riding off the coattails of Venom. It's a Marvel project, anti-hero. It's Venom, who's just popular.
Like
Tom Hardy, who's a great fucking actor. So it's like, this movie had a lot going for it. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hardy literally did Bane, and I still to this day don't believe that's Tom Hardy, just because of what an otherworldly experience he delivered. Doesn't feel like it. The choreography, you would never think that he ever trained to be, like he did. Like he had a whole movie about it. I think he was a kickboxing or something like that. And you would never know it. Like obviously, I'm sure if he had to say, he probably would have a little bit more like sophistication with the choreography. But when he's fighting that villain Von bad guy at the end, and they're like doing that, like it's supposed to be badass slow motion scene of them like fighting each other outside the symbiotes while the symbiotes are behind them or whatever.
That CGI looked awful.
It was terrible. Like he's like throwing them around. He's like go running up to like a high place just to jump back down. I was like, this is literally just the choreographer for this movie just watches WWE.
Pretty much.
It's like it looks terrible. Like an actual street fight ain't going down like this. Like I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, and I was gonna wait to bring it up till but honestly, I think I'll bring it up now.
I have quite a few it's
Eddie literally dying, and then Venom fucking crawling back over to him. Honestly, we'll just do it's now because to be honest, I don't have a quote. I don't have a single quote for this movie. I got two. You got two? All right.
Hi, Eddie. I'm sorry about Venom.
I mean,
that's it.
I am sorry about Venom.
Yeah, I'm sorry about Venom. That's just a regular conversation to have with somebody. And, like everyone's just so non-surprised. Like you think they live in the Avengers universe.
That's this is literally like the first thing that's happening of this caliber in this universe.
I'm sorry about Venom.
What?
What are you talking about?
The symbiote that like
acting like the first time. Like I think it's just been we've been so desensitized to the concept of like aliens coming to Earth in all of these movies that like we just don't even think about the fact how much public outcry there would be if somebody saw that there was some besides a human on Earth. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it, but I feel like if something like this happened, she wouldn't just be in like a regular, a casual breath about it, but whatever.
It's all right. But I guess they're going into as I was saying, Eddie surviving, getting literally stabbed and dying, and then Venom crawling over to him and fucking revived. That is not how the symbiote works. The symbiote literally requires a living body. Thank you. Yeah. It's a shield. If Venom was already around him and he would have gotten stabbed, then it wouldn't have done anything because Venom moves his organs around, whatever the fuck he does. But Eddie died, therefore Venom would not be able to retake over his body because a symbiote requires a living thing in order to work.
It's not a defibrillator.
It's not fucking rocket science. I mean, maybe it is. I gotta get tissue.
Like that's the weird thing about like a lot of these. That's what I like about superhero movies that are like still grounded. Like just because people have these crazy abilities doesn't mean that like common sense still doesn't prevail in some situations. Like the man's dead, no one's reviving him. But whatever. Did you have any more yachts, or was it that? Just
well, that was my first one. But if you want to say a few first, I know you said you had a lot.
I had a few. So the one that's just the most obvious is the fact that they had to rely on a security guard asking the personnel when they don't have cameras. It's like I want to know who was in here last night or something. It's like, bro,
It's 2018. You don't have cameras.
This is a top secret lab that you're dealing with. What is it called? Life that's not from Earth, or whatever you want to call it. You have like this top secret lab. You're literally bringing in people here to die, and there's no cameras. Like, first of all, for an observation standpoint, how the fuck are you even? How are you even like getting any of this information? Like, if you're scientists and you're supposed to be observing things, where the fuck are the cameras? Whatever.
You're gonna also tell me that no one noticed all of these homeless people just disappearing, like in a city like they're in what, San Francisco?
Yeah.
In a city like San Francisco, where it has such a big homeless population, or LA, or New York, or whatever it is, and you see the same like homeless people on your walk, or like Eddie's not going to be the only person to be like, where are these people going? Yeah. And like, sure, maybe Drake is like paying off the cops or some shit like that, but they don't tell us that.
Yeah,
we're just led to believe that no one's caught him doing this.
Another thing I have is when Venom eats an entire body, sure, it looks cool to put it on camera. It's like, oh, wow, he's freaking eating people. Where does that shit go? How does he just transform back to Eddie immediately? Like he just absorbs the body or something?
I think it, like, digests, like, the way that Eddie, like, or that Venom digests. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a stupid... Yeah, I was just more curious. I didn't know if you had any...
No, because it's like that in the comics, the TV shows, everything. Eddie just eats something, and then it's just Eddie again.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it back on here. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's like I said. Like I don't know what's the correct way to do symbiote in live action, but it's not this. That's all I know. It's
what do you mean?
Like there's just something about like Eddie. I mean, that Venom being like that drippy, like that tar, gooey. Like I don't know. There's something.
So I'm not super upset about the design. I just
something
wish
ain't right about it.
Venom himself shouldn't have looked as glossy as he did.
Yeah.
He definitely is. Like I get that maybe it was meant to be more of like a mucus. They also wanted to differentiate from doing Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But
because Venom is over too, because like there's like a fine line between it being just like a suit.
It is just a suit.
Like in Spider-Man 3, it's literally just a suit. It's just a black because it just copied his regular Spider-Man suit, whatever.
And you also have Topher Grace wearing it.
Yeah, which is like it only kind of like appears when someone's trying to like rip it off or something.
I think that another thing that is like very
like I just don't know how you animate something
off-putting.
Like that
I think off-putting is the best way to put it. Is that Venom, of course, not being connected with Spider-Man, doesn't have his classic spider on his chest, which is another big.
Yeah.
That is a big thing. Like Venom's three major designs is his face shape, his long ass tongue, and then his corrupted spider on his chest.
True. Another thing I think is just weird is, what's like when I mean like how you do symbiote live action. I think it's more of just like the process of them like combining into each other. Like there's something that's just so otherworldly and so like it's just not satisfying to look at when you have Tom Hardy like freaking out with like his face is just this, but you can just see the layer of CGI they're putting over. Like his face isn't changing shape. He's just like getting like these black spots on his face.
And like Venom's eyes. Like,
it's like the laziest form of CGI imaginable. It's just like instead of like actually like changing some depth on his face, making it look like something's happening, his face is just like turning black for a second. Bless you.
Thank you.
And his face is just turning black for a second. I don't know. Like, there's a certain.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's one of those things, at least for me, anyways. Where I think I need to see someone who actually knows how to direct a film or write a film do it, and then you can kind of just point like, oh,
I will say
that's how
the way that Andy Serkis dealt with the symbiotes in the second movie is better. I will say that.
I haven't seen the second movie.
Like the way that they move, the way that they look, the way it is a little better. I will say, like the sequel definitely. The sequel improved in spots that it needed to, but also didn't improve in the major spots that it needed to, like the writing or
I cannot believe Andy Serkis did that movie. That's insane.
He just directed it.
No, he just directed. Okay,
he literally only directed.
He didn't write it or anything.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no. Because another thing I was trying to think about is how you do better. Because anime, I feel like is so good for this, like having characters there, like internal monologues, like when they're talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not talking to themselves. I mean, like internally, like when they're just thinking. For some reason, to me, I feel like no live action movie is ever good at this.
No,
Because they always end up talking out loud. It sounds like they're talking to somebody else.
Yes.
It's like, bro, who talks out loud?
That is my biggest, one of my biggest issues with this is Venom.
It would be
can
internal.
Hear Eddie's thoughts.
And exactly, he can hear and see everything he's thought. So why are they even asking questions? Why are they even talking?
Eddie should not be talking out loud at all.
No.
Like, I get if he's alone and he just wants to talk out loud, but like if he's in public, he doesn't need to do that.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure he has never done that.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like when he's on the train, like when he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I'm gonna get off for the next stop." Like it just feels so weird. It's like, why are you saying this out loud? Like then he goes into that horrible scene of him like in that restaurant or whatever. So,
where he fucking jumps into the fucking lobster tank and shit.
I don't know. It just seems. I just don't think they were like hitting it the right way. Like what it was. Like him. I don't know. Like he was supposed to be sick, but it kind of just made him like. I don't know. It was just weird. Like I just wasn't sold that. Like I don't know. I was just not sold on his performance. On like the fact that he was like sick or he was like trying to bond with the symbiote or whatever the hell they were trying to explain was going on.
I think it was the symbiote bonding because I mean it was a similar thing that happened to Toby in Spider-Man 3. He did get sick, passed out, and then he was fine.
Yeah, but I mean, Spider-Man 3 is not a very good benchmark on the symbiote though, just because. I don't know.
That movie's awesome.
I just don't think they still to this day have done a good live action symbiote. So
they haven't.
like I said, it's going to be one of those moments where you see it and be like, "Wait a minute, this is so simple. Why haven't we been doing this for all symbiotes?" Kind of thing. And I don't know what it is, but I don't know. It's the same thing like with I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of this movie, and the villain Von Bad Guy doesn't help. Where it's just twirling his mustache, being evil because it's like sure I like. It's I mean it's not even an interesting motive like the world's destroying itself like someone's got to help them or something like that like this savior figure has been beaten to hell like this god complex person who thinks that they're going to solve the world's problems like setting some common knowledge stuff like overpopulation and climate control is going to destroy the planet like wow
what a stuff that we don't know already
like it's a crazy hot take. It's just like we live in a world like it's a fictional world like create a fictional conflict and it's also. Me personally, I think the worst thing you could possibly do in the first movie of a franchise is create like a world-ending event. Because then what do you do in the next movie?
Also true, because the next movie does not have a world-ending event.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's like the Avengers, the whole Infinity Saga. It's like obviously you had some world-ending events, but like when you get to Endgame and Infinity War, it's like all right, there's never been a problem this big ever.
Yeah,
there's never been a
this
figure.
Is
there's never been like
the same thing when we get to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. It's like they're like. We had the world or universe-ending event. Now we have the multiverse-ending event. Like, that's how you do it. You don't just make... Let's start with the multiverse-ending event, and then eventually we'll do the Earth-ending. Like, no.
Yeah, no, it's just I get, like... He's freaking died. I guess, like, you want to, like, you have to, like, kind of, like, jump the gun a little bit to, like, get people's attention. But, I mean, if you write a good story, the people will come. I mean, me optimistically, that's what I think would happen. I mean... I feel people memeing the shit out of Morbius. Like, if they just make a good movie, like, it will speak for itself.
Yeah, people will watch it. People will rate it properly.
I mean, especially in the drought that we're in right now with superhero movies. Like, you could write a mildly good story, and it's getting a 10-star review just because people are begging for good content right now.
Because all we've gotten in the past 2 years is No Way Home and Batman.
This is just my face thinking about the slate. The last year and a half, 2 years.
At least we got some good ones coming up.
Yeah. I mean, like
Batman 2023, and we'll talk about this a little more once we get into the end credits. 2023 is looking very fucking good for movies. Mm-hmm. Very good. And I'm very excited. But I digress. I guess we should probably move on to the next fucking category because we've been on this for a minute. Yeah.
I was just reading the rest of my. I think that's all I got. Oh, and that one scene you were talking about of Eddie getting killed is literally the only thing I remember from this movie. Like that, like thing.
Where he's impaled.
It's like the zoom out of like.
Yeah, he hunches over and shit. It's fucking so sickening. But I guess then on to goofs, which I'm going to need you to pull up on your screen. So
quick question I have for you.
All right,
how did the symbiote survive the re-entry in the Earth when they're weak to fire?
They didn't explain it.
Okay.
There is no explanation. I don't even think they do it in the second movie. You're just led to believe that somehow Venom survived.
Somehow all the symbiotes survived the freaking explosion. And also when it hit the Earth, it's like, I hate trying to be like scientific in a movie like this because obviously it's a fool's errand, if you want to leave.
Yes.
It's a fool's errand trying to be scientific in a movie like this, but I mean, it's just common sense. If you're falling out of orbit and you're going like full speed down to Earth, I think you're going to make a little bit more of a dent in the Earth than what they showed. Like it was like a little tiny, like little. You could get a bigger dent from dropping a car from like 20 feet up than what you got from them. But whatever.
Yeah, but going into goofs, looking around here, the fact that there's 3 audio-visual unsynchronized errors in this is a little ridiculous to me. This is I don't have the budget in front of me, but this is supposed to be a AAA studio movie.
I think it's like $80 million, if I remember. I think I looked it up long. If you want to keep
$80 million is actually not that bad. All right. But pretty much it's just saying that Venom and the stuff are like, and Eddie talking don't link up. When a kid asks Drake a question, Drake says Dr. Skirth will answer any questions, but then leaves with Dr. Skirth. That's just stupid writing errors that there's holy continuity errors.
Jesus.
What are you telling me?
Apparently it's somewhere in the ballpark of $100 to $116 million.
That's absurd.
Wow. All right, I have a proposition for Sony. How about you give me half of that?
And I'll make a better movie.
Yeah, you can give me a quarter of that if you'd like. I mean, if you really want to negotiate.
How many?
It's like $100 million. I mean, we also I feel like films kind of print money though, so I mean, it's kind of a different ballpark.
There's 9 continuity errors in this movie. I'm not even going to read any of them. I'm just going to tell you that there are 9 continuity errors. I apologize for headphone users, but 9 in your own fucking movie that has nothing else connected to it. You have 9 continuity errors.
How do you even have a continuity error?
It's between itself. It's literally continuity errors that they showed something in the beginning of the movie or towards the end of the movie that contradicted something that they had shown previously. What the fuck?
Yeah, this is really good.
Useless. But that's all we have for goofs. This movie, the goofs is this movie.
I said the goofs is
the fact that this was
Sony paid $100 million to make this movie. That's a big goof.
That's the biggest goof the biggest goof they've ever made. Look at Morbius' budget while we're at it, actually. I'm curious, what was higher, the Morbius budget or the Venom budget?
I'm going to tell you right now it's Morbius. I think I've looked it up. I'm pretty sure Morbius' budget is somewhere in the ballpark of $200 million.
No.
$75 million.
What? Okay, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. And the worst part is like $25 million of that is fucking Jared Leto's fucking cut. Or maybe even Matt Ryan's cut, too. But
that's very surprising. Huh, that's weird. I was expecting it to just kind of be like some freaking bigger than imaginable number. Because entertainment just prints fucking money. Like, you have anything that's like can be like considered entertainment. It's like you're just printing money at this point. When you have Avatar already made $1 billion at the box office. Like,
I don't think it's gonna break any records, though. I mean, it's the 6th slowest movie to reach $1 billion.
That's fucking crazy. I mean, even I'll be the 15th slowest movie to reach $1 billion if it makes $1 billion.
I mean, but
I know what you mean. I'm just saying, like, entertainments like that just prints fucking money like crazy. But I think it's time for the thirsty moment of the movie.
Yeah, check that up.
It's definitely not the scene where she's kissing Eddie and it transfers to symbiote, because that's one of the most disgusting and horrifying things I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't originally in the script. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't originally in the script.
For anyone who hasn't seen that scene, don't watch it. No. It's not even, you can't even hate watch it. It's just eerie, unsettling, and
it's
just
awful.
And it's just kind of just disrespectful to Eddie, because like I feel like they really missed the angle they could have taken, where it's like Eddie's like the only one who can form with these symbiotes, and they're kind of just doing it left and right.
He forms with the dog. No, the worst part. So
I mean, Riot literally formed with like a kid. He formed with like an old woman. It's like, I don't even understand. Like, you think that there's some sort of like health
Riot. So Riot makes sense, because Riot, those other hosts don't survive.
Okay, Riot's just using.
And in the sequel, this is going to sound so stupid that I'm actually about to say this. In the sequel, Venom and Eddie get into a fight, and then Venom then throws Eddie's TV out the window, and then Eddie kicks Venom out. I wish I was lying to you, but if anybody's seen this movie, they know I'm actually not. So Eddie then kicks Venom out, and then Venom hops from body to body, he kills like 10 people, hopping from body to body, and then eventually he's like, he finds Mrs. Chen, the fucking, the store owner from this movie, and apparently he could just bond with Mrs. Chen for some reason. Like, it doesn't makes sense. They try to show like, oh, Venom can only bond with Eddie because he can stay alive with Eddie and Eddie.
But then they throw it out the window in the first movie. It's like, wow.
They throw it out the window in the first and the second movie.
It's like look, I'm not out here trying to say like I don't know the specifications, the qualifications to be bonded to a symbiote, but what are the chances that two people that know each other would both be eligible?
Plus a dog in the same fucking spot.
It's like, look, I'm sure that there's a lot of people who can bond with symbiotes, but like, why are you showing it? Like, the whole point of Eddie is that he's supposed to be special. At least, like, that's the angle I would have taken.
That's the angle that they tried to take in this.
Yeah.
Was that because especially with the fact that Drake was trying to connect the other symbiotes to other hosts, and it wasn't working. That's the way they made it seem in this, is that Eddie's special. Eddie can only connect to Venom because he's Eddie.
But then you see, like, the complete lack thereof.
And then they try to pull, like, the comics thing where Venom can connect with Deadpool, with Spider-Man, with Eddie, with Flash, with Matt Gargan. Like, pick one.
Yeah.
You can't have the best of both worlds in a situation like this. Yeah. You have to pick one.
For me, it's like a Thor's hammer type situation where, like, if you want to throw on the word worthy, you can't just have everybody in the film picking it up. It's the same thing with the symbiote. It's like, what makes Eddie special when some random Joe Schmo can just find a symbiote, put it on, and it's going to be stronger than him or equal to him? Like, I don't know. It just kind of like defeats the purpose of the character being special when any person who just happens to be in the right place at the right time could just get that symbiote and just be a better Eddie Brock or same Eddie Brock. I don't know. Another thing is weird is I didn't even look it up when. Actually, hold on. I'll just finish the segment real quick just so we can get back into it. Tracy Morgan the movie is The Doctor. That's it. She was looking nice. I'm a sucker for glasses. That's all.
I have nothing to add.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add.
I am unfortunately in a hating mood and not a loving mood right now. So
also true. Well, that's what we get for picking this movie for the last movie of the year. But, you know, at least we got a good one next week.
Yeah. And also, Cletus, Carnage. Is it just Venom and Eddie who say we, or is it all symbiotes?
Cletus doesn't have Carnage at the end.
Oh, he doesn't have that? Oh.
He doesn't get Carnage until the sequel.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he doesn't. But yes, all symbiotes do say we.
Okay, no, because he said, when I get out of here. The most on-the-nose
Sony he would have been out of there if he already had Carnage.
Oh, okay.
As soon as he gets Carnage and Carnage activates in the sequel, he breaks out of prison.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured that. But I mean, there's so many situations in the movie where the symbiotes clearly mean nothing. Because that one, when Eddie first gets the symbiote, when he's beating down the door with a fucking fire extinguisher, and he breaks the door, but not someone who has a symbiote, is like mind blowing.
Well, so that wasn't a perfect symbiosis,
but it's like the symbiote.
Well, she wasn't. Venom wasn't able to come out and use his full strength.
Oh, okay.
Like he was able to with Venom.
Yeah.
I mean, with Eddie, which I get is maybe some of the part.
Yeah.
I don't. It's so confusing. There's no set rules in how this
exactly.
works.
It's like when you watch it, just doesn't feel good, kind of thing. Where it's more just me just nitpicking because it's like
we don't have rules. We don't know how this works.
Yeah.
They try to explain it, but then they contradict themselves, which would honestly explain why there's 9 continuity errors in this fucking movie.
Yep. I mean, that's all I got. On to the question of the week.
We're going to wait until the end.
Yes,
we did ask a question of the week on our Instagram at the Staincast. What your favorite and least favorite movies of the year were. Obviously, we're going to save that till the end when we talk about ours. So then...
Critics. But, I mean, it's going to be...
I have to do it on my end now.
It's going to be very controversial, guys.
What the fuck? Hold on. All right, let me share this screen. Chrome tab, Venom user rating. All right, so now you all should be able to see what we're looking at. Let me just make sure.
Jeez,
this is fucking stupid. Let me do that, and then let me minimize this. There we go. That's what we were looking for. So, looking at the critics' score, deal, you might have just to lean a little to the right, just so you're in here.
Hold on 1 second.
What you looking for?
I'm looking at movies that were released in 2018.
I saw Spider-Verse, and I know Infinity War came out. I'm pretty sure Aquaman came out.
No fucking way.
What?
That these movies are coming out this year, and we're still in... Oh, y'all giving it a freaking average of a 6.7.
Oh, Black Panther came out this year?
Nah.
All right, yeah.
Nah.
So as you guys can see, the average score is a 6.6.
That's fucking hideous. That is goddamn horrifying. All right, whatever.
No, what's horrifying is the amount of people that gave this movie a 10 out of 10.
Literally almost 10. But one out of every 10 people who voted on this gave it a 10.
Like that's
Let that
absurd.
sink in.
That's
Let that
absurd.
sink in. Next time you're in a group of people, 1 out of every 10 people gave Venom a 10. That's what that math tells me. All right. Next time you see 10 people in a room,
we have a friend group of 10 people.
One of them gave.
Yes, it would. Hey, Mumbarilla. Hey, well, probably was Mumbarilla.
Mumbarilla. I'm calling it right now.
So we literally have a friend group of 10 people.
It's just so weird to me how this movie, like, this definitely seems like a movie that would be a prime candidate for, like, both,
it being
like,
shit on.
like both ways. Like, the 10 would be like that 10%.
But also
And
a 1 would also be
like
10%.
Yeah, exactly.
But the fact that 1 only has a 1.2, I mean,
it's
I guess
basically negligible. Like, oh my god, what the hell?
these reviews very much confuse me. I'm not going to lie. Because I definitely expected this to be more. Did people really like Venom? Really?
Y'all liked Venom, huh? That's tough. That's a bad look for civilization as a whole.
I'm literally just flabbergasted.
This is why aliens haven't made contact.
Yeah, but I guess looking at the demographic score, let's see. What are we looking at? The highest score. Never mind. I know why this is skewed.
No.
It's women sucking Tom Hardy.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
It's exactly what it is. It's women sucking Tom Hardy. Now that I've looked down at the
But
breakdowns,
he wasn't even good in this role. Like I could name 3 other Tom Hardy.
It doesn't
roles
matter.
off
Women think he's hot. They're gonna fucking see the movie. I don't think you realize how.
Yeah.
Like literally, my mom will literally see movies because she likes the actor. Like Leo, she'll see Leo movies just because Leo's hot. And I'm like, all right, I can understand why you like that because we see Margot Robbie movies because she's hot.
Yeah, I know, but like the difference is that I'd see a Margot Robbie movie because she's hot, but I wouldn't give it a good review. That's my difference.
Fair. Okay, that is fair.
That is fair. Like, I'll watch the movie because obviously that woman's got me at the hip because she's freaking gorgeous.
She's one of like the most beautiful women alive.
She's fucking gorgeous, obviously. But like, if I'm walking out of a movie
and it's
ass,
like Birds of Prey.
It's like maybe she'll get a compensatory like +1 on the movie because she's maybe her acting is decent or she her just being in the movie is I can't do whatever. But it's like even if you give this movie for my review a 1+, it's still like a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, actually, something I'm a little shocked about is that I think this is like the most amounts of less or younger than 18 voters that we've had because usually they're all in the double digits and we actually have 306 and 527
for which one
for under 18.
Yeah.
Usually they're all around like 72 like the females ones is, but the fact that they're all like the other two are a little higher.
I just can't believe
I can't look at these numbers anymore.
Look, I say you guys don't even want to look at me right now because I'm horrified. But everyone's still y'all made me upset. Okay.
Well, if it wasn't you guys, we still love you.
Yeah, it's like,
if you think Venom's a 10 out of 10 movie, what the fuck is your problem? No offense, but what the fuck is your problem?
Exactly. So you did a good preface for me. If you don't think this movie's good, that's fine. You can just turn down this part. You don't have to listen to it. You can tune out. But if you watch that movie, like I'm not saying if you think it was cute, you think it was fine, I'm not mad at you. But if you think it's like a 10, like literally one of the greatest movies you've ever seen, well, like that's the point where opinions start becoming like thrown out the window type thing. Like, everyone's subject to an opinion. That
opinion is wrong. Like exactly. those people who like Episode 9, Olivia Jones, your opinion is wrong.
Exactly. It's
sorry to tell you, but it is.
Up until a certain point, opinions are like, all right, whatever. It's opinion, not fact, whatever. But like when you're out here saying that this movie's a 10, meaning like it's some of the greatest fucking things ever put to picture.
No. Topher Grace's Venom adaptation is better than this.
I'm getting off my soapbox. That's all I have to say.
We're done. It's time for the post-credit scenes. We haven't had a post-credit scene in fucking forever, I feel like.
Yeah, it has been a while. No more fucking Venom.
Post-credit scene.
You should have downloaded Venom by Eminem on here so you could play it right now.
Can't. It's copyrighted. But we do have... Right? I'm on the right subject now. Yes. Post-credit scenes. There was one...
Yeah, it was really good.
It
was on the nose.
Eddie pulls up on fucking Woody Harrelson with a shitty wig, and Woody Harrelson says, "When I get out of here, there's going to be carnage."
Wow, it's carnage, guys! Wow, just in case you couldn't figure it out, as he's wearing red. or whatever it was.
He's got the shitty red wig.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just in case you couldn't figure it out, guys. It's like
I will say,
it's basically Sony doing this. Carnage.
Woody Harrelson, he wasn't bad as Carnage.
I know, yes, I'll take your word for it because I haven't seen it.
Woody was not bad as Carnage. He was definitely the best part of that movie, and is why I give that movie an edge over this one, because the villain is actually good and entertaining to watch.
Okay.
But literally all this does is set up the sequel, and we don't need to... No, don't.
You're telling me that Halloween 2018 came out the same month as that?
I gotta get that out of my mom's room.
Oh, okay. I was giving you guys the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a slow month for movies or something, but that's crazy.
No, that's crazy. Halloween 2018 is literally the best horror movie that's come out in the past 15 years.
Yeah, like strictly horror.
Yeah, just horror,
that's
classic slasher.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
All right, I'm done with that.
No more.
I had the
no more. I guess we could. We'll just give our reviews, and honestly,
I'll be quick with it. Don't worry, guys. We'll be quick.
Actually, I'm going to be nice and quick with it because I've changed my mind.
Yes, I'll do a quick little once over.
We gave it ones across the board.
Yeah, and maybe
no, we gave it ones across the board, both of us. And I can't even.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to change, by all means, but I can't.
The only thing I'd even contemplate changing, and maybe two things. I think at some points the cinematography wasn't bad. I'd almost be willing to give it a 2, but I think I'm just hating on it right now. So, I wouldn't give it a 1. I mean, I wouldn't give it a 2, but, it's amateurish. A lot of CGI. It doesn't look...
This movie is very amateurly shot. It's not rewatchable.
I mean,
It is nowhere near original.
No.
The acting is mid at best.
Yeah.
And the story and writing, we've gone on for an entire... How long have we... 41 minutes about how it's fucking awful. Therefore... For me, Venom gets a 5 out of 20. I think that makes it
my lowest ranked.
I'm pretty sure that makes it my lowest ranked movie now. I'll have to go back and re-rank the ones.
Yeah, the only two I'd even consider, and when I mean consider, I mean giving it a 2. I wouldn't dare
go past that. Yeah,
acting is it's serviceable. I think the villain, he didn't overact too much. I think that a lot of the times no name villains have a what happened is they're trying to really sell.
So hold on, let me look at the actor real quick. Cause I'm pretty sure he's a pretty big actor. Wasn't he in Rogue One?
Pretty sure he was. He was in Rogue One and he was in Nightcrawler, I think.
Yes, he was in Nightcrawler.
He was also apparently he's a DJ.
He's a DJ?
From what I've seen. Look, go up to the top of his profile. Known by his stage name, Riz MC.
Riz MC. That's kind of weak. That's a tough name. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So it's I'm not even really hating on him because I think his lines were super boring, super just substanceless. It's him just preaching on something that most people agree with. It's wow, he's a compelling villain because he says that
some things were you could tell he was bad from the first time you fucking saw him on screen.
Exactly.
That's the kind of
the man's wearing all black.
And it's also the mannerism in which he's talking, undermining
Yeah, exactly.
You just know from the start that he's okay. This is the bad guy.
It's I get imagery and I get using colors to show certain things, but when you're just going to dress someone in all black, it's wow,
the bad guy.
It's super creative. It's wow, you're really making us work for that one. And there's this big buzz over anti-heroes. How about villains that are like Thanos?
Some good villains, please.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to say this until I'm blue in the face and I got no more oxygen in my lungs. But it's how many great movies need to come out before people realize that a great hero is paralleled by a great villain? I just don't know how many times.
And I think that's why I actually liked Wakanda Forever is because Namor was so good. It also made Shuri's arc also good. Which is why I like.
It's you can't have one without the other. You can have you can have an all right villain, which equals to with a great hero, but it's just not that same level. That's what separates a movie from being all right, I'd watch this again. So I'd watch this literally anytime someone asks. I'm yes, 100%. I'm just hating.
Anyways, Venom has a 5 out of 20. That's where that's going to stay.
Yeah.
And it's time to get into the top 10 Staincast. Well, the Staincast's top 10 movies of 2022.
Yes, sir.
Start slideshow. We'll go back.
Lean back. That's what you gotta tell it to do. You gotta tell it to lean back.
How do I? And
This is my favorite theme on PowerPoint.
is it?
Yeah, fuck that theme.
It's perfect. Okay.
There we go. Oh shit! Now I got you cut out. There it is. There it is. It's like half of each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, our top 10 movies. Do we want to do theirs first, or do we want to do ours first?
We can do theirs because theirs is going to be shorter.
All right.
And then we can like talk about it like as we're going through. Because I feel like we'll just be repetitive if we go through ours and go through theirs. Where it's like if we go through theirs and then we kind of be like, all right, this is our thinking behind ours. You could probably do either way, but
Venom.
Time to go get 'em.
Okay, so we asked you guys your favorite and least favorite movies of 2022. Starting off, CMO Ho said that his favorite movie was Smile, and his least favorite was Morbius, with an audible mention to Weird. I'm assuming he meant the Weird Al movie. It just cuts off after Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a movie that came out this year called Weird.
RP24, not to be confused with Chet Stable, said his favorite movie was Bullet Train, and his least favorite was, surprise to no one, Thor: Love and Thunder. Mr. William Banks said his favorite was Black Panther, with his least favorite being Thor: Love and Thunder, saying that it was straight cock and ball torture.
And not the good kind.
Father Queel said Top Gun Maverick and Everything Everywhere All at Once were his favorites, with Morbius being his least favorite. I think we have a common thread here. And then
B dumped the clip.
Yeah, B dumped the clip real quick. He gave like a whole thing. So I'm going to let you do that one if you want.
Sure. So he said his top movies are Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Bullet Train, Nope, Smile, Top Gun, The Menu.
Which he's got great taste on that. Well, I can't deny with any of those movies.
Yeah, and he said the dog shit movies were Avatar was mid, Violent Night was mid, Doctor Strange was trash, Thor garbage, Halloween trash.
Ends was mid.
Yeah, Halloween Ends mid, Barbarian mid.
I don't agree with that one.
Samaritan.
I don't think I saw Samaritan.
Yeah, I don't think I saw one either. He said
the Gray Man, which
Sure.
I also heard was mid.
I couldn't even. That's like there's very few movies that I watch and I turn off 15 minutes in.
And that was one of them.
Yep.
Jesus.
It was so cool.
Lightyear, he said, was mid. I don't really agree with it. I don't think it's top 10 worthy, but I don't think it was mid. I think it was pretty good, enjoyable.
Yeah, it was cute.
Jurassic Park was awful. True Norman? Oh, the North mid.
Yeah, the North mid.
Sonic, I don't think was mid. Again, I think that it was definitely better than the first one. It was enjoyable, but I wouldn't call it mid. And then Morbius, I mean...
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
And then Mr. Max, he said his favorite was Batman, with his least favorite, surprise to no one, being Thor.
I think it was a good movie.
Well, thank you guys all for your responses. We do appreciate them all. Don't forget to check out this Saturday at the Staincast. Also, will be New Year's for the next question of the week. But now, it's time to get into our top 10 movies of 2022. So these are split up. We did do two separate ones. Maybe next year we'll do a combined list, make it a little simple. We didn't have time for that this year. Also, there are some movies in this list that DL saw that I didn't, or that I saw that DL didn't. Like, I didn't get a chance to see The Menu in theaters because by the time I had time to, it was removed from theaters. So now I just have to wait for HBO Max next week, which is unfortunate because I did hear that was good from all of you. So I'm very excited to see it when it does reach streaming services, and we'll probably end up covering it at some point as well.
Menu tough.
But we'll get into that later. But starting off, our number 10s, I think mine is going to come in first. My number 10 movie is Wakanda Forever. I mean, it's the best MCU movie that came out this year. Best superhero, nope, that's a lie. Second best superhero movie that came out this year. It's good. I don't want to talk too much about it because we are going to be having, of course, our MCU episode on it next month when it hits Disney Plus. But it was a good movie. It was definitely a great continuation of the legacy that they had with the first one, with, of course, not having Chadwick. Namor was a great villain, and the only thing that really hinders it for me is it's a little too long. I think that you definitely feel the full 2:45 on it.
Yeah.
And then for you, DL,
The Black Phone. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Ethan Hawke fan. I think he just brings so much to all of his characters.
I'm also a big Scott Dickerson fan.
Yeah, exactly. I really did enjoy the simple premise of this movie. It wasn't some crazy mind bending clusterfuck of a plot kind of movie. It was simple. It's top 10 it's number 10 for a reason. I didn't think it personally really changed my
So the only reason that I can agree with you having it number 10 is because I also have it as my number 9.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good horror movie, but in a year like 2022 that had so many fantastic horror movies,
greatest year for horror movies I can remember.
This just unfortunately falls to the bottom of the list of the ones that I saw this year. There are some others like Bodies. I heard that was fantastic. I do want to watch that at some point. Maybe I'll do that tonight, actually. But unfortunately, in a year like this, it just falls short.
Yeah, maybe any other year, Black Phone might be middling and be top 6 or something. But this is a year for horror movies, at least in my opinion. There's been a lot of very unique horror movies, just a lot of just out there concepts that kind of panned out very well. But,
I mean, you guys will definitely see that our favorite genres are literally horror, so you'll see plenty more horror movies from this year coming up. But I guess the deal going on to your number 9,
which is Prey,
another horror movie.
Yeah,
I actually didn't see Prey.
Yeah, and I was kind of going back and forth with that one, the Black Phone, for my number 9. I mean, I think the message kind of made sense that it was at the bottom of my list. So they kind of were I wasn't really leaning too heavy into either of them. I think really what got it on this list is seeing a Predator in current era CGI, and obviously most of it's practical, but obviously some of the stuff you still have to. Just everything just being up to speed. There'd be no bottlenecks on any of the the effects.
I will say I did see I've seen clips from it, and
it's a good looking
the feral
movie.
Predator looks really
good looking movie, and it's literally the fact that there's a guy underneath that and everything in his mouth is all moving. There is no CGI after the fact. You can look it up. There's literally a test screening of him just opening his mouth, and it's all that shit opening up. I just think it's another one of those simple horror movies that it's not going to win any awards from me. It's not going to win any records for doing anything spectacular. I think it's something different because we're used to seeing Predators with this Alien versus Predator technology where they have all this crazy gizmos. That's kind of just all right. There's so much just crazy technology where you couldn't even take this movie any seriously. When you add in the kind of the nomadic the Indian kind of people I think it was actually Native Americans, whatever. When you have the Native Americans kind of taking on Predators now, it adds so much more urgency to it because obviously these guys have spears, bows and arrows and that kind of stuff. So and even the Predator himself, it's kind of cool seeing where they came from. The Predator, as we see him, is always they're always so confident. They have always have crazy technology, but in this he has some some cool stuff, but it's not nearly to what we're seeing.
Okay.
Basically, the brass tacks is it's just refreshing seeing a Predator movie nowadays. And the storyline was nice. It wasn't anything super complicated, but it was definitely very passable. And hopefully they keep making the movies like this because it just had a different tone. I don't even know how to describe it, but
I'll have to tap in.
Yeah.
Anything that's in your top 10 that I haven't watched, I do plan on watching because we have very similar tastes.
Yeah,
but I'll give this a shot.
Yes, and I'm not familiar with the actress's name at the top.
I think she's new at acting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but she did a very good job. She really sold the character, so I don't have any beef with her.
Well, I guess then moving on to number 8, it's the same for both of us. Another horror movie. Yep. Surprised to no one. Nope. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I mean, I was just going to pretty much for most of the reasons I gave Black Phone. I think it's simple. But it's definitely
the twist in this is what gives it more of an edge for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's simple, but it's not unoriginal. When you think of something that's simple, you kind of think they're going through the motions. They're kind of just taking the safe pick. But I think for Nope, it panned out being the movie that it is. It kind of the trailers, you didn't know anything. No. I think the marketing for this movie was fantastic. You really didn't know what was going on. All you knew is that the name of the movie was Nope, and that somebody said Nope in the movie.
I find it hysterical because he literally. People asked Jordan Peele why he named the movie Nope, and he said, because, and I quote, in this situation, the first thing any black man would say is Nope, which is also obviously the character does it.
Yeah.
Who is it? David Kaluuya's character.
Yeah.
But this was just a great movie. I think Jordan Peele's storytelling is great. I think that this is the third movie he's released now, and this is the third hit. In my opinion, I think it's still the weakest of the 3. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think that Get Out is still his peak. but it's still a fantastic and a great entry in the horror genre, especially, again, for a year that was so loaded with great horror movies like this one was.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess going on to number 7. My number 7 is X. I noticed you didn't have X or Pearl on this list.
Yeah. So my reasoning behind that is that I've seen them too recently for me to be able to toss them on this list. I put X as a little asterisk above my top 10. If maybe I saw it a couple weeks ago, I just needed to let it sit a little more. I think like just the fact that I watched it like a couple days ago, I have literally 2 days ago. It's kind of too soon.
Okay.
If I did, I would probably put it somewhere in the same area you did though.
Okay.
I'd probably put it over Nope, Prey, and Black Phone.
Yeah, for me, so I knew what I was going into before watching X. I did not know what I was going into with Pearl though, and we'll get to Pearl. Spoiler alert in a little bit. X is fantastic. The acting is great. The chemistry between all the cast is great. The twist with the killer is great. Ty West does a fantastic job of directing this movie. It's very nice to look at. Mm-hmm. It's obviously set in, I think it's the 70s.
Yeah, I think it's 78 or something like that.
And the way that he makes the some of the film look old-timey when they're shooting the sex scenes and stuff like that, it's great. Again, it's an A24 movie, which you guys can probably know. A24 doesn't miss. But X is fantastic, and if you have not seen it and don't really know much about it, take your time, take your shot, and watch this movie.
Yeah, preferably watch X and then Pearl.
Yes,
at least that's my.
No, and we'll get like I said.
I mean, technically, if you really want to go full full immersion, X Pearl X. If you really want to go full immersion,
watch X, watch Pearl, then watch X again. But
that's just a recommendation.
I digress. But DL.
The old head classic.
I was like, another one I haven't seen.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of old heads. I mean, if anyone's watching this who's older than us, or just like a huge Tom Cruise fan or huge Top Gun fan, they're probably clapping. They're probably going crazy right now. And it's this movie and 2 other movies that are on my list. Where I feel like it's kind of just like unanimous on everybody's list.
And I will say, if I did watch this beforehand, then it probably would be on mine as well, because I've heard nothing but good things about it.
There are some movies that are on the list where I looked at probably over 50 lists last night, just trying to make sure I didn't forget anything, that kind of stuff. And like this is just one of those movies that's on everybody's list. It's unanimous. It's like if it's not in their top 10, it's in their top 15, and if it's not in their top 15, they're not on the internet because they've been run out of town because everyone loves this movie. It's for a good reason. It's shot like the OG Top Gun movie. There's a lot of scenes where it's still it's
also Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly. Like one, Tom Cruise is he lets the product speak for itself. He's a man of the people. He obviously does some crazy stuff, and he's involved with some ridiculous projects. That's for sure. But his love for the fans is something I always got to respect. I got to respect the hell out of somebody who puts the fans first at the same level he does. He made this movie for them. Or at least, I think he was an executive producer.
I don't even know if I've seen the first one, to be honest with you.
The first one isn't bad. It's just one of those nostalgic movies that people just really lean onto. It's like there's another. It's like one of those war movies where people kind of just like watch it together and
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those movies that like people just vividly remember if they have like history or like they know someone who's involved in this kind of stuff. And I think for good reason it's on everybody's list. I think, yes, it's a little overrated. I think it's at its core, it's still just a war movie.
Yeah.
With some absolutely outlandish stunts that would never happen or never.
Miles Teller.
Like some stuff that would never, ever just be like told to someone to do. But whatever. It's in Hollywood. You got to put something on. You got to put that spin. But I just enjoy it because it's shot like an old, like that 70s, 80s movie. You can see like that nice, like that gold tint on it, like that grainy look to it. Like, there were some scenes where I legitimately thought I was watching the original one just because of it. And I think all the characters were good. Obviously, Miles Teller, mentioned him. Whatever his name was in that movie.
I don't know. He's me right now, though. That's all I know.
Yeah, they all did a great job. And I think that the movie came together very well. It was very well paced. And it was just a very good homage to the original one. But it's definitely not my top 5. Like, it's in terms of, like, theater enjoyment, it might honestly be top 4. Just because of, like, I think it's just, like, when I went there at the theater, like, it's just a very, like...
Did you see it with, like, the boys or your family?
Yeah, the boys. Yeah, like, I was in the theater, and, like, I think it's just, like, it's wide appeal to all audiences, whether, like...
It's just a very fan-servicey movie.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a good kind of fan service, though. It's not like that cringy, like, the way that Marvel sometimes does, that are, like, some studios who are tone-deaf kind of do it.
Yeah.
But no, it was a very enjoyable movie. And if you haven't watched it, I think it's like 2 hours or something. I'd watch
It's not
it.
bad. I'll definitely, like I said, I definitely plan on tapping in.
Yeah.
Then going on to number 6. My number 6 is another horror movie, and it is Barbarian. And I know this is a little controversial because you don't like Barbarian.
So it's weird. So I think it's really only controversial between like our group of friends because I saw a lot of people. I saw someone with Barbarian at number 1 for the list of. Like,
Smoke and I were talking about it. He likes this movie a lot too.
Yeah. So, kind of where I can meet in the middle when I talk with people about this movie is that I think the first act was brilliant. I think they did a great job.
So there's 2 things that I've seen and with talking, and I can agree with you on this. But continue.
I was gonna say the first act's brilliant. I think they do a great job establishing like the setting and the tone and all that. But then as soon as Bill Skarsgård dies, I just don't really know what happens after that. Like it's kind of just a fever dream. Like we see that one like mutated thing. We see her too much. We should have never saw her in the light. We should have barely ever saw her. This is my own obviously it's an opinion. It's the top 10 friggin' movies of the year. So obviously I'm sure some of you guys probably won't agree with me, but. So we shouldn't have seen the mutated creature probably at all. We probably should have saw like shadow shots. We should have done like it shouldn't have just been in the it's so clearly in the camera.
So for me, I like this movie because the entire first I don't even want to say first act, first half.
Yeah,
it's literally half the movie.
Yeah,
you think that Bill Skarsgård's going to be spoiler alert? I guess I'll throw that out there.
Yeah, this movie's been out long.
You see. Like, you're like, oh, Bill Skarsgård's going to be the villain or some shit like that. And then all of a sudden he dies.
He gets his fucking head beaten.
And then the 360 that it just goes right to the fucking... Like, you don't see what happens after he gets his head bashed in. It just changes to a different character, different setting, everything. And then it ties it together. I can understand why you didn't want to see the monster as much. It's just so, for me, the story behind everything, with the incest babies and all that other crap, it was so unsettling that I felt like my skin was crawling, but in a good way, which is what I enjoy. Like me personally, that's what I like in horror movies. Like X made me very uncomfortable. Pearl made me very uncomfortable. This made me very uncomfortable, and that's what I like about horror movies. Is I don't want to just be scared. I want to feel, out of place, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But for you, you're number 6.
Yeah, Black Panther.
Which I was surprised to see this high for you.
Yeah, so I kind of I've just been seeing clips on. I haven't rewatched it again because
it's not on anything.
Yeah, that and it's just a whole experience trying to watch that movie. So the reason why I put it so high is that in terms of 2022, right now, it's an amazing movie. My gripes within this movie have always been the future, looking like obviously like the outlook for it a year, 2, 5 years from now. But as of right now, it's an amazing movie. The tribute to Chadwick is fantastic. They really know how to hit all the fucking heartstrings when they're like dealing with the funeral and they're dealing with
that first the intro to
the movie. Yeah, the intro to the movie, literally jumping straight into it.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, literally fantastic. Them jumping into it, and they do a great fucking job with it. My problem is just the longevity of this movie. But as of right now, we're in 2022 still, so it's still the 6th best movie.
That's why we'll see. Hopefully next month. If our opinions change,
exactly. Yeah, I'm sure my opinion probably will change, but I mean, as of right now, yearly on a year basis, like this year, it's number 6.
All right, I can respect that. Now moving on to number 5. Like I said, this was coming up already. Pearl. I don't want to spoil too much because you really need to watch Pearl to like fully appreciate and understand it. You watched Pearl, right?
Yep.
You did. Okay. Pearl is better than X by far.
Man. I'd put it actually. So here's my stance on it. Acting, storytelling, Pearl, action, intrigue is probably X. So because I think X was just more.
I can respect. Also, because who we're looking at right now is another thing. Mia Goth.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I think Mia Goth. Pearl was more of her movie. Like it was like it was her opportunity to really show what she can do. It was just like kind of that origin story on Pearl. So it makes sense why it would be more story driven and more like character based compared to X, where it's kind of like, all right, we don't really care about these porn stars, whatever, fuck them, kill them all, kind of thing.
But this is more definitely. I mean, it is. It's definitely more character driven. You definitely get more intimate with Pearl herself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, takes place even more in the past, being a prequel to Pearl. But also this movie. So after watching Pearl, originally I had Nope above X, but after watching Pearl, it's what bumped X even more. Because, like you said, you watch X, Pearl, X to get the full in order to fully appreciate everything and all the callbacks, references, everything in Pearl, you need to watch X beforehand. And then when you watch Pearl, then you watch X again, you understand even more.
Mm-hmm.
That also deals with the fact that Ty West, he directed this movie as well. He filmed this movie in secret. No one knew he was making this movie until he made this movie. Because he just was filming X, took Mia Goth and was like, we're going to go make another movie. And made this movie. Which is, that backstory alone as well, just really nails it home for me. Because there's not really, you never see two sequels or prequels, whatever, released for the same franchise in 1 year either.
And a $2 million combined budget.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. On literally fucking paper cloths is what they got to fucking work with.
Literally a camera fucking probably costs that much. Oh, yes, the menu. So this movie, I think, is at number 5, because I didn't know where to place it, because in terms of, what happens in the movie, it's more of just, the situational humor that it is. Because when we were talking about seeing this movie, I looked it up, and I kind of, whenever I go to see movies in theaters that, aren't super marketed, I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm just going to go in kind of blind.
I still know nothing about this movie.
Yeah, because, that's a good thing, because I went into it and I was expecting nothing. Maybe that's probably why it's so high on this list. I mean, I guess somewhere in the middle. I just really wasn't expecting anything. And it was just such a random,
it's a thriller, right?
Yeah, it's a thriller, but it's just, the way it's presented to you is just so unlike anything I've really seen. Like I said, it's one of those movies where you have to really see to have a discussion on it with somebody else. It's just so weird. It's so abstract kind of movie, but I know I love it. Mm-hmm. Basically my advice to you is if you're questioning why it's number 5 on my list, just watch it. And if you don't like it, then whatever. It's your opinion.
I've not seen this. I definitely plan on it. Like I said at the beginning of this next week when I hit HBO Max. But just knowing how much you boys talk about it,
it's just funny.
And I know nothing about it. I've heard nothing but good things.
It's kind of like a fever dream kind of movie. It's you watching, it's did this all really happen? Kind of thing. But yeah,
interesting.
I enjoy it.
Then I guess moving on to number 4. My number 4 is, I think, another movie you haven't seen. Or did you?
No, I've been.
You never read it about it?
It's on my list. I have 3 or 4 movies I need to watch soon.
Hustle is fantastic, and the fact that an Adam Sandler movie alone, or Adam Sandler, sorry, is in my top 5 should tell you a lot. Because Adam Sandler, I love the guy. I love his movies. He makes classics. But this movie is fantastic. It is a basketball movie about him going overseas trying to recruit someone. And I don't want to spoil too much of it because this movie, the experience and the story behind it is good. The acting behind it is great. You see so many NBA stars make cameos, and it's fucking hysterical. And obviously, you can also see at the top of the poster, it is also, an executive producer, LeBron James. This movie is fantastic, and I actually do want to cover it on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, I just got to watch it soon, which is fine.
But if you have not seen Hustle, and especially if you're a basketball fan and have not seen Hustle, definitely tap in. It's on Netflix, a Netflix original. Fantastic movie. But I guess moving on to your number 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so upset that you have this at number 4.
Yeah, it's tough. When I was trying to rank it, so my problem is it's so tough trying to rank comedies high up because there's all 3 movies above this are just so serious. I don't want to say super serious tone where it's no, you can't laugh at the movie anymore. Because obviously the movies that I might have mentioned, they definitely have that comedic relief and that kind of stuff. But
El Rata,
yeah, there's just so much it's hard to explain. I wanted to put Bullet Train higher, but I think for
Bullet Train
for its substance, it couldn't have been. It's just by principle on my own, morals of ranking things, I can't put it any higher. Just because at the end of the day, it's fucking ludicrous. The movie serves no purpose, and that's not I'm not trying to trash. I'm just saying the movie serves no purpose. Nothing happens. Nothing of use. You don't gain anything from this movie, but it's an amazing fucking movie, and that's why. It's literally, what other movie are you It's I'm not saying Brad Pitt mailed it in, but he's not giving any
100%.
Oscar-winning performance in this movie. And I think that's kind of why people enjoy it so much. It's the same thing with Daniel Craig in Knives Out.
Yep.
How he's been attached to James Bond at the hip for the last 15 years of his life. Now all of a sudden he can play a detective, but he doesn't have to go by that Martin's shaken, not stirred kind of mentality. Where he's got to be this super oozing sex appeal kind of thing. And now all of a sudden Brad Pitt can step outside that typecast for himself and just be this. And I think that's why it's refreshing.
Yeah, and I mean for me, I already bumped it up to number 3.
It's a fantastic fucking movie.
It is. So I went into this. I saw the trailers. I mean, we see a lot of movies. So obviously, we see a lot of previews. We see a lot of. I thought this movie was going to be fucking awful.
I wasn't even sure like what was going on. Like I think even after watching the movie, I'm still asking what is the plot.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like that's like so. I thought this movie was going to be awful, and then I believe you guys saw it first, and then Chet and I were like, all right, let's just go tap in. We'll see it, and it is brainless.
Yeah,
like it's so much fun.
I say so entertaining.
Like all the kills, all the action scenes, the plot behind it, like the fast quick edit jabs. It's like it is a magnificent movie.
Yeah, it's like
if you have not seen it, go watch it. Like it definitely deserves to be in the top 5 movies of this year. It is just ridiculous, mindless fun, a star-studded cast for no reason.
Yeah, it's got like that. It's got like a YouTube edit kind of thing.
Yes, that's the best way to put it.
They'll say something, and all of a sudden you just get like that scene from it, and that's it. And you'll never hear about it again, kind of thing.
I also like the kind of non-linear storytelling to it, where it's like they show this is how it happens, this would, and it all is just one big circle.
And I just love that Bad Bunny is like hyped up for like 20 minutes. They've all been dying instantly.
And then you see his dead body throughout it. Yeah. Bad. I mean, he also wasn't even bad in this either, which is the best part. But going into your number 3, I didn't enjoy this movie.
I really like this movie, and obviously, I know you said you didn't like. I know everyone's got their own opinions on it. I think why this movie is so high up. I think it's just like one of those horror movies that, I mean, at its root, a horror movie obviously is supposed to like you talked about Nope or whatever it was, where it's like it's really supposed to just shake you to your core. Where it's like you watching, it's like you're just eerie. Like at the end of the day, like. It's something that you have no business being scared of. It's like such like a monotonous thing. It's like someone just smiling. But like every actor that they got in this movie has a fucking terrifying smile. Like it's fucking horrifying. Like especially the one girl from the trailer. Like what really got me on this movie is the one trailer they put out was fucking excellent.
I will say their advertising for this movie was fantastic because they went around and had players at Mets games, Yankee games, all around the country. Just standing behind home plate smiling. So they were in view the entire game.
Yeah, like it's like as soon as I saw that one trailer of that scene at the beginning of the movie where the thing passes to the main character, that like the woman in the picture right there, like it's hard, I don't even know her name. But like that one scene where you're gonna see it like pulling up on, she's just like you can kind of just like we're so unaccustomed to it because at that point in the movie we have no clue what's going on. But like after you see it again, it kind of is like wow, you kind of see like what everyone else is going through. It's a loaded bag kind of movie. Like it's a lot. It really delves into like the supernatural kind of elements of it, and I like that we really don't see too much of this like figure or like entity or whatever it is. But that one therapist scene for you, if you know, you know. I fucking love that.
I would say this movie definitely has its moments, and
absolutely.
I just
I don't know the scene where the therapist calls her. There's something about that scene that's just.
It's maybe tough. If we cover this sometime next year or in the future, maybe I'll give it another shot. Yeah. Maybe I'll give it another shot later on. But for me, for now, this movie didn't really do much for me, and I can get why because I know a lot of people do really like this movie. Just for me, I don't know. Mm-hmm. The fact that I fell asleep during a horror movie should tell you enough as it is. Yeah. But then I guess moving on,
number two,
which I guess we'll preface this. We have the same movies for number 1 and 2 switched.
Okay, I was about to say, no way you fucking got the same number 1, and that's hilarious.
No, we have the same movies but switched. So for me, the second best movie of the year is The Batman. And for DL, it is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I'll switch the slide in a minute, and we'll switch. But I'll let you talk about The Batman, since it's your number 1.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk about Everything Everywhere, since it's my number 1. And then we'll discuss on why we didn't do that. So, who'd like to talk about The Batman?
So when it comes to The Batman, me and Smoke have a fucking love affair with this movie. I mean, Smoke was literally
Batman for Halloween.
With that exact costume. I just... Like, obviously it's recency, but I mean, not even anymore. The movie came out in the beginning of the year.
It literally came out in March, which is ridiculous to think about.
Yeah. It's like, because my opinions... I'll try to get into the camera. My opinions on this movie is, we've had Christian, like, at least in my lifetime, we've had Christian Bale and we've had Ben Affleck be like those two Batman figures. And even Christian Bale, the all-time actor that he is.
Where is he?
Besides, obviously, Gore, but we're not going to talk about that. being the all-time actor he is,
score.
he did such a great job personifying Batman and Bruce Wayne, Christian Bale. But like he doesn't even hold a candle to, I think, Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Batman. There's just something about like I feel like it sounds super simple. Christian Bale became Batman, but Batman became Robert Pattinson. I feel like that's the best way to describe. Like he literally, it doesn't make sense, but I feel like it kind of shows like where I'm coming from. Where Christian Bale kind of took on that role, but I don't even know what it is. Like I think I said it to you guys, or I said it to somebody, where I just think Robert Pattinson has the same take and ability to portray Batman as Christian Bale did in his third movie. Like you would think that Robert Pattinson's a veteran. How he's played him before. Like, he just has so much experience, at least it feels like. Like, the way he's just walking around, the way he lets his nuts hang.
That's true.
When he's walking around, like, the Iceberg Lounge or something like that. Maybe I just enjoy seeing, like, a less put together, like, a year two Batman compared to what we're used to, where, obviously, in Batman Begins, we see that. But definitely not to the near, like, it's just, like I just like how unkept and how, like, amateurish he is. Even with his suit. How he kind of consistently fucks up throughout the movie, and I think that's why I like it so much. Is that we always see Batman in his peak, in his him beating up on people, him always being one step ahead of everybody. But in this movie, we find that we see the Riddler, who is literally his complete opposite. Even at the end of the movie, where he's like, "You're not as smart as I thought you were." Like he didn't even figure out that there was that whole plan going on. And I don't know. There's just something about the way that they bounce off each other. What's his name is Alfred. Oh my god, I can't forget.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis is Alfred. Fabulous. Oh my god, I can't.
Paul
Dano is Riddler. Fabulous.
Colin
Farrell as the Penguin. First of all, for anyone who didn't know it was Colin Farrell, that's Colin Farrell. So that's
the amount of no one knew who he was on the set either.
Yeah, so it's literally because I really haven't been a huge Colin Farrell. Like I just haven't really watched too much of it. I've seen a couple of his movies. I saw a movie with him, an A24 movie. It's Killing of Sacred Deer. He was really good in that movie. But like, it's just such a change of pace for him. Because I also saw him in Miami Vice too, which he was good in, but it's just not him, and like that's not in a bad way. Like it's just, and of all the characters he played, like it's such like a gruesome, like cruel, like
I'm excited for his Penguin show.
Yeah, like he's just like a nasty character in this, and it's so different from what he usually is. And it's obviously Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, fantastic as well. Like
the whole cast.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I just named the entire freaking cast basically. I think the only gripe I have with this movie is Jim Gordon. I think he definitely overacted. What's his name?
The Watcher.
Yeah, the Watcher. Goddamn, Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright. I think he overacted. I see him in Westworld. I think that's one of his best performances because he actually is like he's a little bit more humble. I guess
you heard Westworld got canceled.
Oh, that's a shame because season 3 was trash. Yeah, because don't get me started on Westworld. Yeah, so Jeffrey Wright. I think he definitely overacted some parts, but I mean. For me, the way I see it anyway, anyone who's seen the movie can agree with me. If your biggest beef with the movie is Jeffrey Wright, then I think you're in. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a very great. Greatest movie of the year in my.
We definitely plan on covering this.
Yeah, it's like the weakest link being Jeffrey Wright really shows how fantastic this movie is because any other movie would be glad to have that be their weakest link when they have some of these stories told perfectly. I love the noir fucking the whole like detective kind of thing. I just love obviously the soundtrack. You guys don't need to see if you haven't even seen the movie. You know, fucking Something in the Way was ridiculously popular in the months following this movie.
Oh yeah,
soundtrack was amazing. Matt Reeves just did a bang up job with this movie, and the more I watch it, I mean, it definitely is an experience to watch, but it's fucking amazing. It takes it's like 3 hours something. So if you're like, what is it, like 2 hours and 50 minutes,
something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's a long watch, but it's worth it.
So for me. I can't disagree with anything you said about Batman.
Yeah, I fucking love that movie.
But what gives Everything Everywhere All at Once the edge for me is the storytelling and the messages and the meaning behind it. And also, that's how you do a fucking multiverse movie, man. Like, I wasn't hating on Multiverse of Madness at first because I didn't see this at first. Xander, and I think most of you watched this movie before Multiverse of Madness came out.
Yeah.
Once I watched this afterwards, it made me realize... This is how you do a multiverse movie. The story behind it, how open-ended the ending is, the acting, I didn't expect this to be what it is.
Yeah.
And especially coming from a very low-budget indie movie, this was phenomenal. Yeah. And I have absolutely no complaints about it. This movie's perfect. Literally perfect. Which, again, is something that can also be said about the Batman. Mm-hmm. But I just think that the themes and the the messages that are behind it. And for those of you that have seen the movie, and I'm sure most of you can agree with me, that scene when they're just the rocks with the text coming on and they're just like explaining things to each other, like that is my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It is simple. It is visually beautiful to just look at. And then everything that they're talking about and means, and I'm not going into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it. Because if you haven't seen this movie, you need to. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
This is not something that you can skip out on.
Yeah,
but it's phenomenal in every way.
Yeah, creativity wise, I agree. I mean, there's a reason why it's number 2. It's like for basically all the reasons I would put Batman. Like it was really tough trying to figure out my number 1. I mean, obviously, I went back and forth. But really, at the end of the day, I'm just so invested in the story of Batman, no matter what form it takes, no matter who plays the character. I think it's just kind of like...
Which is fair. So, growing up for me, I was always a Spider-Man kid.
Exactly. So it's like, they could put... I mean, even Spider-Man 3, it's like, obviously that movie wasn't great, but like, we'd still watch it and enjoy it because of the fact that it's like, no matter what form or character or like actor that character takes...
I'm watching it.
It's still like the fact that it's in a movie. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think... I've always said that I really enjoy DC. I mean, obviously nowadays it's tough being a DC fan, but whatever.
True.
There's so many reasons to like the Batman. I think we live like, especially with the era of movies we're living in now, superhero films, to be specific, how super saturated everything is, how everything just kind of feels so soulless, and how they're being like forced out like it's a freaking weekly paper kind of thing.
Don't fucking turn me up, man. This shit gets me so tight.
It's just refreshing to see that film studios still care about consistency and actually pleasing the fans.
And they wonder what happens when they give creative liberties to their directors that are fans of the source material.
Yeah, it's
then
like
you get shit like this, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like surprise, surprise. You give the helm to a person who actually cares about the character. They do the character justice. Another thing I will say, and I saw. Surprisingly, the Batman wasn't top 10 on a lot of people's lists. I think it's more of like a cultural kind of thing. Like, it's more of like, I'm sure like younger people, that kind of thing, will like it more because people like their Top Guns when it's like, oh yeah, this is realistic, yeah, sure, whatever. The one thing I will say about Everything Everywhere All at Once, I saw a lot of people, they're saying a lot of great things about it, and I completely agree. I feel like just nobody in the same, like nobody wrote about the fact that this movie's budget was like $20 million. Doctor Strange's was $200 million, literally a tenth.
And this looks so much better.
It looks better. It plays better. It sounds better. It looks better. Like everything about this movie is better, and it's done with a budget the 10th of the size. Like I think that's not being talked about enough because Disney prints money. They do all this crazy stuff, but at the end of the day, they can't even beat a movie that's 10 times cheaper than it.
Yep.
And literally with no name actors. Like obviously, I'm not like, but you know what I mean.
But they because they just have their storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
and that's what Disney and Marvel has not cared about. And they need to just stop giving Michael. I get Michael Waldron. He wrote Loki. Loki was fantastic, but fuck it, he then went to write on Doctor Strange, and that was not good.
It's like in a vacuum where this movie doesn't exist, Doctor Strange might not be a terrible movie, but this movie exists. So,
and they came out the same year,
exactly.
like 2 months apart.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just kind of you can watch movies back to back. It's like one is a child's version of the multiverse, and one's an actual like someone who sat down and did the work, trying to figure out how this like if it existed. So it's like theoretically speaking, what would it look like, or at least a Hollywood version of what it would look like.
Yeah, but that, my friends, friends,
I've been talking a lot. I really like some of these movies.
That is our top 10 movies of the year, as well as your guys' inputs as well. We had a lot of great movies this year. Obviously, we had a lot of similar ones on our list, but there were some that DL had that I didn't, and vice versa.
We want to know the craziest thing, guys, that I think the TV shows are better this year. And I just talked that long about all these movies.
I can agree. Some of the TV shows that came out this year, we had The Boys Season 3 this year. We had House of Dragon Season 1 this year. We had, towards the beginning of the year, Moon Knight, besides the finale, but that was still fantastic.
Say we had Severance, Better Call Saul, even Andor. Andor was fucking amazing.
I forgot about
Andor was fucking amazing, too, compared to the previous Star Wars properties. I probably could have talked about Better Call Saul for the entire time I was just talking about my top 10 movies. So I'll put that in perspective because that's masterpiece. Obviously, TV shows have the benefit of like
being longer.
Like you're basically living with these characters. With like Better Call Saul 6 seasons, you've lived with this character for a super long time. So it has that benefit. But I mean, if we were talking about TV shows,
there'd be a lot more.
Y'all would need a coffee.
Yeah, there'd be a lot more. We'd be going on a lot longer than we have now. But with that said, Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Staincast. Link in bio for merch. Like, comment, fucking all that fun stuff. Stay tuned for this Saturday, where we will be posting the question of the week for Logan, as well as the episode next week, where we'll be talking about Logan, as well as our top 10 albums of 2022. We did this last year. You guys are very excited for it to come back this year. And I think you guys got a nice treat in store for that one. And that one I think is going to be a lot more divisive than this one was. But like I said, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's.